Online Learning, a game changer for learning and development programs by Ms. Ashlesha Rodrigues Dsouza, content delivery lead at British Council. Can we have a big round of applause for Ms. Ashlesha? Ashlesha Dsouza is the content delivery lead responsible for creating digital teaching, learning material, and developing meaningful learning experience at English Online, British Council's flagship online learning platform for adults. She has a wealth of experience managing and supporting trainers and teachers from across the globe in business, social, and exam context. She believes that all leaders should be learners, and she is an advocate of collaborative learning environments where individuals continuously benefit from each other's experience. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, happy to be here with all of you. I think Mr. Sandeep Das took you all into the future. I'm going to bring you all back into the present a little bit and also talk about the past and where we've come. So, I have for you online learning. Is it a game changer for program outcomes? All of us know about online learning, right? So just to make sure everyone is awake, just with a show of hands, I'm just going to have you answer a few questions very quickly. So online learning is not as effective as in-person learning. How many of you say yes? Nice, okay, that's less than half the audience, interesting. Without a digital component, your program is not as attractive to your learners or participants. Okay, I think the whole room agrees with this. Right now, this is such an important part. It really seems that you're outdated or a dinosaur if you don't have an online learning component. Scale, let's talk about scale here, because we really can access a lot of people in a lot of places with scale. So scale for learning and development programs comes at the cost of quality and ROI. How many believe that this is true? Oh, just a few. Great, lots of advocates for online learning. If there's no AI, there's no engagement in a program right now. Great. We have a few who say yes, but okay. Nice. This is something that all of you know. Okay, I'm just going to run through this because it's just about saying yes, of course it's true. Why online learning is the fastest growing part of learning and development? Simplified operations at scale. It makes it much easier. You can, get a whole group of learners, participants, put them onto a platform. You can see where they're at in their journey. Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are they doing it correctly? And it's just at your fingertips, just like you heard before, right? It isn't those, big observations and documents that you have to go through and look at whether your program is working or not. It makes life simple. Reach and flexibility. From your computer, you can check whatever you want from whichever part of the world you are doing your programs in, right? You can just check it on a platform. You can check if your trainers have attended, your learners have attended. You can judge the progress all with, the tip of your fingers again. Collaboration across geographies. In a face-to-face environment, yes, you are restricted by the four walls of a training room or an institution, but online learning, you have access to people from all over the world in terms of trainers, in terms of the learners and different offices that you can get together all on one screen. So the value that you have with such diversity is unmatched, I think. Personalization, this is the new buzzword, right? With online learning, you can give them whatever they want. Whenever they want to do it, they can choose to change their path. If today I'm at the beginning of my career, I need support with interviews and presentations, but maybe 10 years down the line, I don't need that. I need networking skills. Or maybe I'm moving from the hotel industry to something else right now. I want to change my path. Online learning can give you access to a range of learning. Reduce costs. Of course, the most obvious thing is you don't have to travel to a place, right? Another big thing besides just your travel costs is the time. Time is money. You know, you work not from 9 to 5 here, you work like 11 or 12 hours. When do you have the time to learn? I'm sure everyone can identify with this. You have to fight with, you know, your organization and say, no, learning and development is important. But this gives you the opportunity to access people out of hours, perhaps let them learn before office hours, after, on weekends, if it doesn't work for you in that 9 to 5 time. So you're reducing costs that way as well, because you're not cutting down on the time that they're spending on learning. Naturally, all of this is going to have a big business impact in terms of how learners move ahead, in terms of how they practically apply what they learn in a business environment. So yes, that is why it is the fastest growing part of learning and development. So is it a game changer? Yes, no? Okay. Post-COVID, everything went online during COVID. I'm sure some of you did do some things online. Did you all have excellent experiences? Or did you hear about people having brilliant experiences and saying, oh, I'm never going to learn in a physical environment again? How many of you can say, yes, online did it? No hands up there. Oh, one person, very good. Why? If online learning is a game changer, why did it not work when we really needed it? Because a lot of people, a lot of organizations try to shoehorn what they would do in a face-to-face environment into an online environment. It doesn't work that way. You cannot force something into a completely different environment. Trainer interaction. Yes, there are videos available and audios and stuff to read and, you know, games to play. Everything is there. But at the end of the day, we are humans. And that human touch matters. That's why all of you are sitting in this room right now. It matters. The lack of trainer interaction is what gave people that not so good experience. Gaps in skills and study areas. Why? Yes, they have access to everything. This leads to a little bit of learner fatigue. What do I do? How much do I do? There's so much of choice. Sometimes you need someone to guide you and say, this might work, this won't, try this, if not this, this. Those gaps are filled in by human beings, yes. Okay, so we need to remember this in an online learning environment as well. And that's what leads to poor learner motivation. Why should I do this? I might as well watch a YouTube video or just scroll through those reels which, you know, gets my mind at ease, and why not another one, why not another one? There's no motivation. There's no one there to guide you. But it works. It does work. We do have large data sets to tell us that it does. So at the British Council, we've had tens of thousands of learners who we have recently worked with. And they did an online course with us. And the approach was a flipped learning design, which I'll come to in a bit. They were offered a test at the start of their proficiency to see how good they were in English. And then they were offered the same test at the end, just to check, naturally. The learner's level, so A1 to C1 is actually your English language ability, in case for those of you who didn't know, in the Common European Reference Framework. It's used across the board for all languages. So we had learners from across the board with different language levels. And they studied intensively for 10 weeks. They did 100 little lessons. It was nicely packaged, as I told you. And 2 hours of classes a day. They did this continuously for 10 weeks, very, very intensively. Okay. There was one single factor, just one, which impacted all of these things. whether they completed the course or not, whether they were motivated enough to complete the course, whether there was a bridge in the gap between a low level and a high level. Did they manage to achieve that jump that they wanted? And the exit test. So I said there's a test at the start, at the end. There was one factor that impacted these things. Can you think of what that could be? Shout out. Yeah, what bridged the gap? What led to this bridging of the gap? Human interaction, okay. Anyone else? Which helped all of this, and that led to the success of our program. It was actually attendance. It was actually the fact that they were just there in the online class. They were there day in and day out, listening, interacting with peers. That's what works, okay? If you get them there, if you have their attention, your program is going to work, yeah? It's the strongest indication that someone is likely to complete their course, so class attendance rates, yeah? It's the single factor that influences the scores and the increase in levels. And it shows that learners at different levels can progress with the right amount of knowledge and skills that they're supposed to. Class attendance can tell you this. Program attendance is one single factor that can tell you this. Another quick case study. This was another large project with the Islamic University in Malaysia. Again, very, very large number of learners. They wanted to improve their skills for employability, because now when people move out of their universities, there is a huge gap. They can't meet the needs of a business in terms of communication, in terms of interaction, in terms of whatever it is that they need. So employability is what this project aimed at. And they wanted to prepare learners to achieve a B2 or a C, which is a pretty high level on the CFR scale. So there was an employability focus that we designed for them, and there was a flipped learning design, and we focused on engaging them enough, keeping them there, bringing them back to class so that we would achieve the outcomes. And there was also a bit of exam prep, because they had to do an exam at the end of the year. So APTIS is the test that they did at the end of it. What were our outcomes? All but one were above B2 level. All of them, okay? 66% achieved a C, which is a very advanced level of English language ability and proficiency. And 60% showed an improved level overall in their test results, yeah? So it works. It is a game changer. But remember what you need to, like the crux of it is make sure that interaction, that human touch does not go away. You need to have them there. How was this achieved? What are these online classes? How should you design your course? Make it comprehensive, engaging, interactive, so that you get them there and keep them coming. A 3 quick, simple step approach. You have them prepare with something before class, before your training program. Not too much. You cannot bombard them with tons of reading material and videos. They don't have the time for it. Absolutely not. 15, 20, 30 minutes, that's all, something interactive. Tons of platforms are available right now. People develop their own learning management systems and content management systems and gamified everything on their platforms. Have something which is interactive, which they can take with them to a session, yeah? Then you have them practice. Don't have this input-based thing like I'm doing right now, just giving you a talk. Talk to each other. Have them interact. And you can do this in an online environment. There's so many platforms that have a range of things that help you do this. The simplest being your breakout rooms. Other things can be, you know, annotation and Padlets and Jamboards and everything that's available to you. Use technology to your benefit, yeah? Once they've practiced it and they find that it's going to help them and they realize they can immediately take this and tomorrow talk to their bosses, tomorrow have that meeting, you know, get into that interview and ace it. You've given them the skills. That's all you can ask for. And a little bit of follow-up. Everybody needs to just recap what they've learned. Go back and say, what did I can't remember. Because most people come out of a class and go and have some chai or talk to friends. No one knows what's happened. So a little bit of interaction after class, self-study works. Okay? This 3-step model is what we call the flipped model. Flipped because you're giving them the input first. You're not telling them everything in that class. You're not wasting that precious time, trainee time talking. You're making them actually do it. Yeah. It encourages them to take charge of their learning. Yeah. They decide when they want to do, how much they want to do, and how much they want to interact in that class. It helps learners to learn how to learn. Yeah? They decide, there's your personalization, you're helping them with that. How do I learn in a way that's best for me? And then I can learn anything. You have a lot of opportunities for practice, for interaction that connect with a human being, even if it is online. Yeah? It's connections with peers, connections with trainees. It's so important. And at the end of the day, you're leaving your course with motivation and confidence. I have learned something. I can use this tomorrow. We've had feedback saying, I managed to talk in an interview, and my boss actually came to me and said, you've improved. It's that kind of heartfelt feedback that makes you know that it works. Here's a little more. It's an actual quote from a learner in verbatim. We haven't changed anything. Though English is my favorite subject in school, I get very nervous when it comes to speaking because there is no practice in school. It's just grammar. It's just writing essays. I learned that it's okay to make mistakes. This is another important thing. That's where your trainer comes in. It's fine. We're human. We learn from mistakes. That's the process, right? You can't take away the process. Your videos and your text and reading will give you the information, but they will not let you make mistakes. You need to make mistakes, and it's okay. I practiced the speaking, it changed my mindset, and instead of worrying about people judging me, I'm more concerned about people understanding my message. Yeah, you can miss a couple of articles here and there. I come from the British Council, but yes, you still need to communicate, and if you are able to give your trainees and your participants those skills to communicate confidently, everything else will improve. We also got feedback from their lecturers, the students, the teachers, and they actually said that the online approach motivated them to learn English in comparison to learning in the traditional classroom. Yeah. They got a positive attitude throughout the course. The attitude changed, and they actually said that the presence of a mentor is still important in guiding a learner to learn a language. Yeah. Questions? What works, what doesn't? AI, where does it come in? Yes, please.
Is there any study around online learning consumption across different generations?
Across different generations? I'm sure there are studies, but I don't think there'll be a study that goes back really far. But based on what we know, everything came into the market and came into being rather recently. It's obvious to all of us how it has changed, online learning. I'm sure there are tons of studies online, but is there specifically something that you want to know about the difference in the ages?
Specifically observe the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
The Gen Zs that I talk to, they specifically demand online learning. They don't want offline learning.
Yeah.
And this typically happens when we do our annual survey. Mm-hmm. And the millennials and the other generations, they want offline learning.
Yeah.
They demand for offline learning. So just a pattern that I noticed, and I was wondering if there is any recorded study around this?
I can't quote any studies, but I can say there is comfort in doing something that you have been used to doing for a long period of time. I mean, I know my parents, would naturally prefer a physical classroom. That's what they've had. Online learning is harder for them. They have to change their mindset. It requires a mindset change to do it that way. But our Gen Zs have so much, that they're exposed to. A teacher is very boring. They have to sit there and passively learn. And that's why we have to adapt. We absolutely have to adapt to the changing environment and the needs of our learners. So you're right, there is a huge change. But that's not to say that our older learners can't adapt to online learning. We deal with a lot of adults. We have people who have been 70 years old coming to online classes and been really happy. So it's about establishing what online learning can do, how it can achieve your outcomes, and also giving them the time and space to adapt to that environment. And it works. It can work. You can change a mindset. I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah.
So my aha moment actually came when you showed me that classroom attendance was one of the biggest factors. Any other variables that you can see which will bring in a very different level of effectiveness? This was fantastic.
I think a little bit of preparation. So we also noticed that when learners have actually done, something before class and engaged with content before class, and then they bring it to the classroom for that interaction, it helps them better because you have something to practice. You're not scrambling around trying to find, what should I do, what should I use, what language. So if they've actually done a little bit of preparation, the flip model really works.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you very much, everyone. It was lovely being here with you today.
Be on the stage, please. Hello. Thank you so much for the accurate content delivery. And I would like to call upon stage Mr. Rajat Sanan, Head of L&D at SG Analytics, to do the honors. Can we have a big round of applause?